Okay, so here we are in the WordPress site under Sanditon by Jane Austen. And I clicked on chapter 1, which brought me here, and I started to read. And what basically you're supposed to do for this assignment is read until you find a word that you don't know the meaning of. So in this particular instance, I didn't even make it through the first sentence. A gentleman and a lady traveling from Tunbridge. Okay, where is Tunbridge? I have no idea. Well, actually I do. But if I hadn't, read this book several times, I would have no idea, right? Because we're American and probably haven't been to Tunbridge in England. So what I did is I searched for the definition of Tunbridge, and I found it here. Tunbridge Wells is a spa town in Kent, southeast England, population 59,000, etc., etc. And so what I want to do is to provide a link to this page along with a hover text of the definition in our chapter. And this is going to be your assignment. So what you do, again, you have to roll up to the top. I was here, but I have to roll up to the top in order to see these buttons here. And I want to edit this page. So I click Edit. And I come down to Tunbridge, which is right here. And I put my cursor right before Tunbridge. And, oops, I want to make this a little larger for you so you can see it better. So I come down here to Tunbridge and put my cursor there, and I'm going to paste the hover text code that I copied from the old website. I'll put that right here. Now, the way that you read this code is like this, okay? We've got an anchor to the title. This is the hover text here, holding an indicated position or role, etc. currently. That was what was the hover text before. Then we've got the link here that takes us to the dictionary definition there. And then we have the target, which says blank, incumbent, and then we've got the end carrots. Okay, so what we want to do here is take this old code and turn it into code that refers back to our text. So I'm going to highlight and then cut Tunbridge, and I'm going to replace incumbent with Tunbridge. Okay, so now the link will be to Tunbridge. Then I don't want the target to be this definition anymore. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to come over here to the page that I want it to link to. I'm going to highlight that URL up here, copy it, and paste it here where the old URL was. Okay? Now I want to replace the definition. So I'm going to come here. This is for the hover text. I'm going to cut this and go here, copy this definition, and paste it right there. All right? So we've changed the code. So from here to here, all is going to make this look like this. Now we have a link here, hyperlink, that once we publish it, let's see here, I'm going to update this. And then I'm going to preview it to make sure it's good. And when we come to chapter 1, here's the link. If you click on it, it takes us to this web page under Oxford English Living Dictionaries. And if you hover over it, there is the text. So if you don't want to click on a link, you can see the definition just by hovering. Okay? Now you're going to need to do this 3 times. We have 12 chapters. And so what I want to do is split up the work alphabetically between the students. So if your last name begins with an A or a B, you're going to do chapter 1. If your last name begins with a C or a D, chapter 2, E or F, chapter 3, etc. down through the alphabet. Okay? So if your last name begins with a Y or a Z, you're in charge of chapter 12. I do encourage you to read this entire 12 chapters. They're interesting. I think that they're a good read. If you haven't read Jane Austen before, it gives you an introduction to her. and also will help you to better understand when we watch Welcome to Sanditon, the web series. So I do encourage you to read through this and not just add your 3 links and run away. Okay, so after you add your 3 links, you will then go over to our Moodle course site, and you'll come down here and you'll see assignment 2 of 3, WordPress site, links, and hover text. When you click on this, you'll see break down the assignment. 1, add 3 links with hover text to definitions in Sanditon text on WordPress. 2, write rationale here and provide link to your work. What I mean by rationale is I don't want you to just say, I created a link for Tunbridge because I didn't know what it was, and now I do. What I want you to do instead is to say, what kind of value is added by this link? In other words, in this particular instance, you would say, I didn't know what Tunbridge was, so I went and looked it up. Now I understand that the characters in this book are going to a spa town. So probably this book is going to be about health in the in this novel. Also, that I now understand where they're located is southeast England in Kent. I also can recognize that this is an old town, and that there are these springs here are probably why it's a spa town, because the iron-rich springs were considered to be very good for health. I also know that this is a fancy place because it was patronized by royalty throughout the 17th and 18th centuries. And since we know that Sanditon was published in early 19th century, you can probably make a guess that the people who are in this book are if not royal, are actually wealthy. So you can see how looking up words, doing this work, creating the links, has a value added to your ability to be able to understand the text. A lot of times when we're reading, we just skip over words that we don't know and say, I'll figure it out in the context. And that really hobbles us. Language is power. Language is itself a technology. And this little bits of squiggles of black ink on a paper don't mean anything unless you understand the value that is attributed to it by other people. You know, when somebody says Tunbridge to you in an Austen novel, it's like saying, you know, Palm Springs or something like that. Where if you don't understand what Palm Springs is, you're just like, oh, it's a city, it's a place. But if you know what Palm Springs is, then you know it's like, okay, the wealthy go there. It's a place that people go for health. The more you know about those little squiggles of ink on a paper, the more empowered you are. And again, language is a technology. It's something that is man-made, something that was invented. It did not just spring out of thin air. And it's constantly changing. So it's important that we continue to approach language as itself kind of, you know, a new media. Something that human beings invented, you know, several thousand years ago, but it wasn't around always. And the English language wasn't around always. And in the English language, the way that we use it today is not what it was, you know, 200 years ago or 300 years ago or 400 years ago. And reading a book like Austen's book helps to remind us that the English language is a living, breathing language that is always changing. And if you don't understand words, then you feel alienated, that you feel cut off from a conversation. And you're going to feel that way as you read Austen's text, because it was written, you know, very 200 years ago. You're going to stumble upon words that you don't know quite frequently. And you're going to say to yourself, this is English? But the technology of the English language has changed over the years. And the more we learn about it, and the more we think about it, the more powerful we can be. So I'm going to end this video now and start the next video on the medium is the message, so we can understand how that fits in with our coursework and what we're thinking about, and also so you can do your third assignment, which you'll find here on Moodle. This is your third assignment for the week. Let's see here. Where is it? There. Assignment 3. Extension, scale, pace, or pattern. Okay?